Good afternoon, everyone. This short voiceover PowerPoint is to replace class today as I cannot be with you. You have two assignments. I will be as brief as possible. The first one is your personal statement, which is a requirement on its own on the pathway. And the second one is your CV or resume, which will include your personal statement once you have written it. This, of course, we can look at next week and tweak and change and adapt to something that is fully acceptable and fully appropriate for the job. Now, let's look at what we need to consider very briefly. When writing a personal statement, you really want to write something that represents you. It must be who you are, what you have to offer, and what you're looking for. So you in a nutshell. And obviously something that the job application or the job ad is looking for. You need to represent that. If we look at what should be included in a personal statement. Now, here, if you're going to pitch yourself to a potential employer, you need to consider that you should be using keywords rather than buzzwords. Buzzwords are really common today. I am flexible, I'm a team worker, etc., etc. Be careful of how you use these. The second thing that you need to consider is keeping it brief, making sure that you understand the fact that employees or headhunters or recruiters today are short in time. They have apparently about 9 seconds to glance at your CV or resume. Keep it short, keep it brief. The next thing that often gives a lot of strength, and we'll look at it quickly in detail, is stats. If you can add stats to and include any kind of data to that personal statement, it does add weight. Let's look at an aspect of what to consider. When we're looking at keywords, the job ad will demonstrate or show what they are looking for. So try and repeat that, maybe by using a paraphrased version of what they've said, but you want to answer as closely on a checklist, if they are using one, to that, using the right wording, the keywords that are there. The next thing, or this next slide, will show you some of the keywords that are far more appropriate to use in a professional setting than the typical ones that we see often today. Here's a slide for you to consider, and some words, SAP, etc. These sort of things come through much stronger. The other, here is an example of something that is brief. So brevity here, it doesn't mean that we're leaving out anything. It really just shows some of the important aspects of what this person wants to get across, of who they are, the fact that they speak French. Maybe that came through in the job application or the job ad. And then again here, what they are looking for. So again, it tells us who they are, what they have to offer, and what they're looking for. Really key. The next point that we spoke about was stats. And again, here's a really good example. It gives some really concrete evidence of experience. Here, more details on what that experience entailed, some of the possibly programs, something like that, that could give them stats to work with. So difference between a CV and cover letter. Now, in a CV, generally, you are going to give as much detail as possible. You will find that one page will be really too short to be able to give the detail that you want. However, a resume is a clear summary of a CV. Yes, in America, it tends to be called a resume regardless, but it does mean that we can keep it onto one page, and that I think is the key here. So what do we need to do to write a good CV? What is this perfect CV that we're looking for? Let's consider a few things. If we look at this example that we have here. Now, here the objective is really where your personal statement would go. Here she has included education as a focal point because that is what comes through stronger. Maybe she has less experience, so experience comes as less of a focus, if I may say. Expertise, here I would use something rather like skills, and here maybe personal skills, or have personal skills down here and leave more space for experience. You can see that she has put some references. You may, of course, and being working part-time students, why not? Otherwise, references on request, professional photo, and your personal information. So let's look at this again in a bit more detail. So here, the personal details. I don't open a CV or will look at a CV. We're at the moment looking for another teacher because we've had one who's gone off ill. Really, if somebody sent me a CV without these details, I wouldn't even consider it. Move on to the next one. That's what I would do. So making sure your personal statement grabs, catches, and keeps the attention of the target reader, the person you wish to impress. The education, possibly, again, could be in first place or in second place or less focal point. Depends on you, what you feel is more important. But from most recent to least recent, remember that the University of Applied Sciences and Arts, Western Switzerland, is how we use the term for English for the Usher SSO. It's not Usher SSO. It is the University of Applied Sciences, Western Switzerland, or the long form. We're looking at work experience. You could, in the work experience, stipulate the skills that you've gained in each work experience rather than having the skills separately. But today we tend to do that. And don't underestimate the languages that you use within your work experience as a key skill to mention. Achievements, any achievements from your voluntary work where you've gained a certificate of attendance, for example, in conferences. It could also be for sport, it could be for the arts, whatever achievements that you feel you had, dancing, whatever. Here, your interest, people, as you well know, employ people, human beings. We really want to know who this human is, what this human's all about, and the only way for us to really be able to tell that is with interest. So important that you bring across who you are through your interests. That really is writing a CV in a nutshell, but really consider the fact that when somebody reads something that has spelling mistakes, unacceptable. That has a photo that is with a beer in the hand, something like that, unacceptable. Needs to be professional. That the order is not logical. Consider that before you write. And relevance. Really pinpoint your CV and your personal statement to the job ad that you are applying for. It's not something that is general. Really think well before you write. Check, double check, triple check your work, and we will go over it next week. So, okay. I wish you a good rest of the evening, and let me know if you need any help. Thanks. Bye-bye.